And we named ourselves the Kamoinge Workshop. And we picked the name from a book by Jomo Kenyatta, which is defined as a group of people acting together. And that seemed to be appropriate. So we decided to call ourselves Kamoinge, which people had very difficult times pronouncing and spelling, but it's spelled Kamoinge, Kamoinge. Okay.
You know, to borrow a phrase that I heard somewhere, we were a group that the stars fell on. All the chemistry came together at the right time. And the various things that we needed, we were able to get from each other.
Kamoinge has always been to me a family. It's almost like that's how I grew up. It's almost like that's how I woke up.
For me, it was my way out. So I emerged myself. I went to Lou Draper. Lou Draper had his enlarger on the floor, so we had to print on our knees. Lou Draper lived in the building where Langston Hughes lived. So now we got Roy DeCaraba, we got Langston Hughes as mentors of the group.
Kamoinge first introduced photography to me as an art form. That's all I needed, really. Just to know that there was a language, that there was a world.
So we all just got together and talked about stuff. And then they said, well, man, what are we going to do? I said, well, the images that they're doing of us in the newspapers and stuff is terrible. So we decided that we would take that over and photograph our people in a positive way and in a positive light.
The Nationalists is more about the politics. We were more about the culture. We were more about the visualness of black people.
Back then, in the 60s, very exciting time, and just, I like the phrase, young lion, and we were all young lions at the time. The excitement, the youth and the adrenaline.
I think these guys, and there's a woman in the group, Ming Smith, are the greatest photographers in the world.
So I think when you talk about the Kamoinge Workshop, you have to talk about it in two phases. You have to talk about the actual workshop, the functioning, the day-to-day operation, and then you have to talk about the spirit that was generated by that formative period. And that, I think, will continue with us. I mean, that's such an important part of our lives that there's no way of erasing that.
I love the group, and I don't say things I don't mean. Truly love them.
So I saw him, Roy DeCaraba. I walked up to him and I said, "Are you Mr. DeCaraba?" And he said, "Yes." And all of a sudden, I was so nervous, my flash went off in Roy's face. And in fact, I have a picture of him like that. So then he said, "Are you a photographer?" So I said, "Oh, yes," And in fact, I had a card because I was, in another life, I was an offset printer. I was still a printer during that time. So I had printed up business cards, Buford Smith, photojournalist, blah, 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 blah. So I gave him one of my cards. He said, "Well, stop by my loft and let me see some of your photographs." And I did. And about a month later, he looked at them and said, "Well, these are nice, and I would like to introduce you to some other black photographers." And they're in a group called Kamoinge Workshop.
One poor guy came and showed his work, and he was so disappointed after we critiqued his work, and he was so disappointed when we finished with him. He went down to the river and threw his cameras in the river. That's not funny, but I can't imagine somebody doing that. But it was difficult sometimes. But he wasn't a member anyhow.
I don't know, I just never thought about being the first woman or being a woman in Kamoinge for some reason. I guess because everyone was artists, they were artists, and everyone was into the work, just the photography. And it wasn't like anyone was hitting on me or anything like that. It was really a pure environment for me, and I felt safe there. I felt safe because in a lot of different situations in my travels in New York, I didn't feel safe. but I felt like they had good character.
I argue that it's about photography. It's about doing a great photograph, whether you're photographing a dog, or a black person, a white person, a piece of string. It's got to be a photograph that works. You know, that's the main thing. Then you can say, we'll photograph black or this or that. You can photograph a black person, terrible photograph. It's not about black. It's about the quality of the work. That's what I always talked about, still talk about today.
We would discuss art as well, or the latest exhibit that was up, or we might have been discussing an exhibit that we were going to do. Yeah, at that time we'd done a number of exhibits through the years. So it was that kind of atmosphere. We always seemed to discuss how can we get recognized.
My missions, I have so many, but is to make sure that they get ink, and they've always, and it's more than personal. It's personal is duality there, because I feel I'm left here. I could have left, any one of us could have left the planet, but we're here. I'm a vessel, and also it's very important while I'm here to make sure that they get ink, you know, because I haven't gotten ink. That's not the only reason, but, you know.
What it means to me, essentially, is that it enabled me to work with a group of people, to associate with a group of people who were of many different persuasions and many different degrees of talent when they came in, and who developed as broad-range human beings. I think that there was much more that could have been done. I think the thing that makes me cautious about an evaluation of the group is that not nearly as much was done as could have been done. We spent a lot of time in limbo. We spent a lot of time in purgatory. We spent a lot of time preparing to, but never generating. The times when we did were, I think, quite good. I just think there were too few and far in between. And so in terms of an evaluation of it and what it means to me, I have to talk about not only its triumphs, but also its disappointments for me.
And believe me, Kamoinge has had enough of us falling out with each other, getting back together, leaving the group, coming back to the group. I don't like him, I don't like what he said, you know, but again, family. We all know how it is to deal with family over years. Sometimes it can get very intense, but I think we all loved each other, love each other, and we'll do that. Okay?